online. Dave, who have we got online?
Just you and me.
Okay. So we'll take, we'll have an apology for lateness from Katarina. Would that be true? So she's going to be here. So we'll take Katarina Hodge for lateness, and we have any other councillors going to join who said they were going to join? Okay. We haven't heard from Andrew, so we'll put them down as lateness at the moment, and then we can change that to an apology if necessary. So I'd like to have I'll move that the apologies be accepted. Can I have a seconder? Pamela? All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. So confirmation of the agenda. We have the agenda items are the Chief Executive end of year review, and that takes up two components, which is key performance indicators and a self-assessment. And then we'll be looking at another matter after that. So those being the items of the agenda. Also, before I take confirmation, we're going to have a new element it's a new way forward for all council committees, and that is we're going to receive all the reports right up front rather than receive them. It saves us time. So we're going to do that. It's a lesson we learned off another local authority. Thank you for that. Yes, I can. Doesn't want to receive it. Yes, might rescind that. Yes. Possible. I think that's a fair comment, Councillor, and what I'll do in my future is I'll look through, and any matters that I think are going to be ones which are not procedural, I will not receive those elements in any meeting, and I'll say that to any of the chairs. If all procedural, are you happy with that? This is a new way forward, or are we all pushing back?
Oh, can I just ask, what is if a report had been received and then later on in the meeting, some councillors wanted to retract that motion, what is the process for retracting? Is it the 70% sort of situation, or do you know what I mean? If the requirement, the voting requirement to retract something is somewhat onerous, then I think that would.
Thank you, Pamela. Welcome, Andrew, and I'll get Dave to answer that.
It would be the case of the 75% if you wanted to retract it, but I might be able to add something for clarity here that will help the adoption of this if you so wish. When we're talking about receiving the reports, we're not talking about reports that have A or B recommendations or any recommendations at all, bar those that are received. So, for example, if we have a report where there's a B recommendation that council does such and such, that will be put separately from the report being received. We're not doing that at this stage. Yes.
So like health and safety, which is just received. Yes. There's never any recommendations associated.
That's right.
With that.
Anything with recommendations that are the B's, so pertinent to the committee, we would not action those at the same time. It's just the information only receipt for report.
Press your button.
Yes.
Press your button. Because we may have people online very shortly.
We've got a stroppy democracy service advisor here that has got a different interpretation. So, where was I in my argument? If we've received it for a start, the information, the Regional Transport Committee, that's always perfect and everything else, is received, is seconded, well, you might as well move on to the next item. What's the point of discussing it?
You can still discuss the report, A's or B's on the back of that. So it doesn't limit your ability to govern in any way, shape or form. You're just saying that you've received the report, which by nature of it being in the agenda that you've received it prior to.
So what what might be the most appropriate is for the relevant chairs to decide, because it's their right at the start of a meeting to decide whether they're going to receive or not. And if they have objections from members, then that would not be. That seems to me to be the most appropriate course, that each time we say it's an offer where the chairs of the relevant committee can decide or not to adopt them up front. And if they receive objections, then they might decide not. Would that be fair approach? I'm asking for the fact that we have a chair of policy here, we have a long-standing councillor here. Obviously, I'm going to get the best advice.
What's the benefit of changing? Trying to fix them.
What it does do for us is, in the case of some committees where we might get, say, 10 reports that are receipt only, it just allows you to receive them all at the start and then go through the agenda item by item. And in the minutes, when you resolve to do anything on the back of that, the resolution will reflect your actions as opposed to the procedural matters that have already been dealt with at the start.
So it allows the waters to sit there with the pen and you don't have to follow.
You're a stirrer. Councillor, you're a stirrer.
It depends how you interpret that.
So I think what we'll do is we'll allow those chairs to determine the course of action. If they get any pushback at the front end of the meeting, then they can make that determination. So with that, that's shall we receive the reports for this meeting? No, we won't. In that case, we won't receive the reports. We'll deal with each one. I think he's just making a point. Also, there'll be no details from the public excluded session will be reported in the open session of this meeting unless otherwise resolved. And so that's our agenda, and I have great delight in moving that agenda. And
So
I'm
we're not
sure
receiving
you'll second that. All those in favour, please say aye. And that reports are not being received for this meeting.
That's correct.
We now move over to disclosure of interest. Are there any interests to be disclosed that refer particularly to the matters on this agenda? Welcome, Katarina. We delayed the meeting with a bit of a debate, so you had enough time to join. Thank you. There being no disclosures of interest, we now move to a resolution to exclude the public. Dave, would you like to just cover that? And I have a mover from Katarina, a seconder from Pamela. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Okay, we have now a moment to continue your discussion while we